Welcome to MLM Nation, a podcast of leaders, by leaders, for leaders, hosted by Simon Chan. He's built a team of over 200,000 and is now a full-time MLM coach and trainer. So if you're ready to level up your business, join us now. Let's do this.
Hey, MLM Nation, this is Simon Chan. I'm fired up to bring our special guest today. He's been on MLM Nation before. He is a good, close friend. I've spoken at his events. He's done amazing things. You're Ferny Ceballos. Hey, Ferny, are you ready to make it happen?
Absolutely. Let's take it away.
And for those who don't know Ferny Ceballos, he's been on MLM Nation like one or two times before. He first started out really early in the. I don't have the podcast number, but it was a long time ago. He's an awesome friend. I remember hanging out with him in Vegas to 4 a.m. in the morning and really awesome conversations. We're having fun. But for those who don't know him, he graduated from MIT, super nerd, but at the same time, a super jock, played football in college. And after working 5 years as an aerospace engineer, he realized that he somehow ventured into the network marketing space to escape the rat race. And he has been, since leaving aerospace, he has personally been responsible for over 50 million in sales, building it online, and more importantly, has helped hundreds of entrepreneurs produce 6- and 7-figure and 8-figure earners, promoting their network marketing business, launching their own direct sales companies, and other online businesses. Currently, Ferny is the Chief Marketing Officer of TractionMarketing.com, and we'll talk a little bit more about that later. But Ferny is an awesome dude. I recently was honored to speak at his event in January. We talked about podcasting and content. But Ferny, welcome to MLM Nation. You've accomplished a lot, but how in the world did you go from MIT, aerospace, to this network marketing thing?
Thanks, brother. I appreciate that. I see you found my intro, so that's covered my bio. Well, that is an interesting story. I mean, I had an upbringing that was the best you can ask for. I had great parents who were very loving. I grew up in a loving environment. Even though we were poor, come from an immigrant family. I was born in the U.S. first in my, first generation, depending on how you define first generation. I was first born here in the United States. My parents come from Mexico. Really, our neighborhood that we grew up in was poor. There were a lot of gangs. There was violence, a lot of bad influences. But I was pretty well insulated from all that stuff. And in spite of all that, I did really well in school. And I had a pretty happy childhood. And I did so well in school that I started getting a bunch of solicitations from colleges and universities all over the country, one of which was MIT. I didn't know what MIT was at the time, but my girlfriend at the time said, when I asked her about it, said, "Oh, my brother applied to MIT and he didn't get in, and he's the smartest person I know, so you're probably not going to get in." And so that to me was almost like a challenge laid down. I was like, all right. So I applied and I actually was accepted. And by that point, I knew what MIT was, one of the most prestigious institutions in the world. And I went there for 4 years, had an amazing time, met some of the most amazing and brilliant people in the world. People have gone on to do incredible things, including work at SpaceX, Silicon Valley, and start their own companies and many different ventures. And one of the things coming out of MIT, is what makes MIT or an Ivy League school or a Caltech, what makes them different from a state school or another public university? Well, it's actually how they teach, because they actually use the exact same textbooks. They all teach calculus and physics and all the engineering stuff. They teach the exact same thing, except how they teach you and also how they support you. Most importantly, how they brainwash you into believing that you can accomplish anything in the world. And by the time I left MIT, I had this grand vision for my life that I could do anything, financial freedom, time freedom, that if I wanted to start a business or startup of some kind, I could do it. The world was my oyster. And that's what I was brainwashed to believe. And I caught on that vision. And after I left MIT and got a regular job, I worked in the aerospace industry on top secret military programs for the government, space programs, had top secret clearances, and I was miserable. I didn't like being in corporate America. No matter how cool it sounded to be a part of like these top secret programs, it's actually not as exciting as it seems. Like the most exciting part is saying I worked on these programs, but the actual work on it was very boring. I had no control. I drove through, to work for 3 hours in traffic every day on top of the 8, 9 hours that I was working at my job. And it just seemed like a waste for me to be spending the majority of my time that I'm going to be awake on this earth doing something that I didn't really enjoy doing, was not passionate about doing, that I had no control over doing. And I'm also a person that does not like to wake up early. So I am not a morning person either. So that was a letdown. And so I had a choice. I either can do something different so that my reality expands so that it matches my vision, or I can contract my vision to match my reality. And a lot of people do contract their vision and kind of settle. I just was not willing to settle for whatever reason. Something inside me just wouldn't let me do it. But I didn't know what else to do. I went back to grad school. I got a degree from USC in electrical engineering, and I thought maybe that was going to open some doors, but that was just going to further entrench me further in what I was already doing. And a friend, a homework partner at USC, actually invited me to a meeting, and he told me that a bunch of engineers were going to get together and talk about starting a business. And I thought he was talking about, oh, well, they want to collaborate on potentially starting some sort of tech startup, or the next, Silicon Valley, whatever. And so I was like, I'm curious, what are you guys gonna talk about? And then it turned out to be a meeting for network marketing. They started drawing circles on the board. Um, I was pretty pissed, like when I realized what it was. I wanted nothing to do with it. Like I was one of those guys that was like, is this one of those pyramid things? And I already knew the answer. I didn't care. Like I was just trying to, be a jerk in the meeting. But I'm also kind of a polite guy. So I was trying to be a jerk, but as far as jerks goes, it wasn't that big of a jerk because I just did it. I don't like to ruffle feathers or create conflict. So I just sat through the meeting. And then as soon as it was over, I was out of there. But for 2 weeks, I ghosted my potential sponsor. I didn't talk to him. He tried reaching out. I ignored all his calls, but something kept gnawing at me. Something kept gnawing, and the thing that gnawed at me was, if there was even a minuscule chance that this thing might end up being a way out of my situation, freedom, or lead to my financial freedom, time freedom, and allow me to do the things I want to do, like not be tied down to a certain location for work, then ultimately I gave it a shot, even if I thought that the chance of it was tiny. And I got off to a really strong start, built a team really fast, doing it the more traditional way, home parties, home meetings, one-on-one meetings, prospecting friends and family, conning them into meetings. Just like I was tricked into meetings, I tricked other people into meetings. Prospecting anyone within 3 feet, and no one else was willing to do what I was willing to do, and so there was no duplication. And I didn't understand how come they weren't willing to do the things I was willing to do. But it should have been a clue to me, because I actually hated doing those things. I did not enjoy the traditional way of building a network marketing business, but I did it anyway. But I guess the people I brought on, or the people, some of the people they recruited, just didn't have the motivation to be willing to do that. And so ultimately, everybody ended up quitting. I was the last man standing, and that really sucked. It really sucked, putting all that work and having your team pretty much bail and disappear because they weren't willing to do the things I was willing to do. And one night I was searching online. I'm not sure the reason I was searching. I think maybe I was trying to to learn something about network marketing that somehow would give me the ultimate excuse to quit. I wasn't sure what I was searching for, but I ended up finding a website, and a website that promised to teach me a different way of building a network marketing business. And ultimately, that website was owned by my mentors, Mike Dillard and Tim Irway. And the website was called Magnetic Sponsoring. And they fundamentally taught me a different way of building a network marketing business using the internet, building it online without having to leave your home. And you can imagine, as an engineer, that was music to my ears. But also the philosophy was completely different. They promised to teach me professional marketing skill sets And one of the things that really stuck out for me, it was the first time in my network marketing career that somebody was speaking to me like an adult. They told me that before Eric Worre popularized the idea of becoming a network marketing professional, they were actually the first that told me in their book, you got to become a professional. You got to be willing to become a professional network marketer if you want to make a professional income. And that was in black and white back in 2006 when I first found their stuff. And that made sense. No one had network marketing ever told me that. They always downplayed the idea of having to learn skill sets. It was like, I kept getting the feedback like, Ferny, you're trying to make it too complicated. You just need to bring more people to meetings. Just bring more people to meetings and we're going to get rich. That was how he sounded. That's a direct quote. And you just got to bring more people to meetings. That's all you got to do. And I felt like I was being like deceived and spoken down to because I knew it's like anything that where you can make a 6-figure or more income, you have to learn some skill sets. That's like how the laws of the universe work in terms of becoming a professional. No one makes that type of income for nothing, for without any work or without any skills. And so that was the turning point for me when I found those mentors. And 2 years later, I was job free.
Yeah, I want to add something because I think everyone wants to get high quality prospects, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like quality people. And so here we have Ferny, who is, I don't know, this is like, the quality is the highest quality of the quality. For those who don't know, MIT is, I think, ranked top 5 university in the US, probably top 10 in the entire country, in the entire world, right? And then getting the electrical engineer at USC. USC is another top 50 university. Anyone who's electrical, there's different type of engineering, but electrical engineering is considered one of the hardest engineering. Because how do I know? Because I dabbled in engineering for a little bit, and I quickly left it. And all my friends who were like the nerdiest and the smartest, they were the ones who did electrical engineering, right? And there's someone like mechanical engineering a little bit easier. But so Ferny's a really, really smart person. So if you want to track people, you got to learn skills. Because I think a lot of times the network marketing, the way we approach, we turn off a lot of the smart people that we want into the business. What would you say? Would you agree to that statement?
Yeah, I mean, now the way I approach network marketing is I want the highest quality person possible. When I actually built a 6-figure business and ultimately had the largest residual income check in my company at the time, I not only did I actually had an application process to join my team. So when somebody was interested in joining my team, they actually had to first learn everything about my business. That I created a presentation that was written that they had to read through. They had to submit an application and actually pay me $50 just to apply to join my team. And so I had completely inverted the recruitment process, where most networkers are like hoping and praying that their prospect is going to be interested and end up joining. And I was done dealing with tire kickers. I was done dealing with people who are not going to be motivated. I already did that. I built a team of a bunch of unmotivated people. It sucks. And so I 100% agree. The smarter the person, the more success that they have in their previous life, the better conversations I can have with them.
Yeah. So I want to ask you about attraction marketing, the definition of it. But before that, I would just want to elaborate a little bit. And I'll share this in our community, the purpose-driven networkers today, that, one of the best advice, I think one of the things that helped me become successful, a lot of you know my story. I struggled for months and months and months. And then one of my turning points was to start becoming consistent. And I started getting some results, but I realized if you want to be different, and that time I read a great book called The Purple Cow by Seth Godin. Because, my mentor told me network marketing is 2 parts, right? Network is meeting people, but you also got to market. How do you market yourself? How do you sell? I think everyone knows people are buying, we're selling dreams, we're selling a product, but ultimately we're selling dreams and we're selling ourselves. So how do you market yourself? And so that book had a profound change in me in terms of, I realized if I did what everyone else did, like quote unquote, like duplication, right? Duplicate, then you don't stand out. You basically have zero chance, right? Especially, and this was 20 years ago, but now even more so, because when people are, people ask me like, how come I'm not getting results online? I look at the profile, they're just copycats, right? And there's nothing unique. Like in this day of age where there's so much content, every second's a new TikTok reel, and it's if you don't stand out, you have a zero chance, right? So my mentor told me you got to be a purple cow. Like if you're a black and white cow, what happens to you? You get slaughtered and you become hamburger meat or steaks, right? But if you're purple, you actually end up being like you be in a museum, you be in a zoo, you be in a shrine, you get to survive. So I got the lesson early on. Fortunately, back in like 2004, I started doing online and started doing something a little bit different, right? And I started to take up more time for it because I just want to explain the importance of this. Is that so? While a good example was like our team was one of the first teams that did online, so we were different. Our prospects were approached by different companies, right? But they were doing the face-to-face, and this is as early as back 04, but we were doing MP3 files, right? So people are like, oh, this is different. I don't need to run around and do face-to-face meetings, right? I'm not saying face-to-face meetings don't work. That was the first time I started getting some results. Second, there was like when I went to Malaysia was huge, because in Malaysia, that's like one of the MLM capitals of the world. Everyone's into network marketing. They all believe in network marketing, but they all hate, going to the cultures like you meet for coffee at 11 p.m. at night, stay up there. And I show them, hey, we're different. We have this online system. So I wasn't even selling our company. I was selling the system. I was being that purple cow, right? And people were attracted to that. And in the Philippines, the same thing. I was showing them something different. So that's where, and I was just lucky. I didn't even know about attraction marketing back then, but I was doing it. But going back to Ferdy, like you got to stand out. Whatever you do, you got to stand out. So people want to be, instead of you chasing people, like people wanted to be part of Ferdy's team, right? So anyway, I just want to set that. Like I definitely, people ask me, Simon, did you do attraction marketing? Were you teaching social media? I've been doing attraction marketing the whole time. Even everyone who's on watching this podcast, right, or watching this masterclass right now, listening to or watching on YouTube, I attracted you right through the content, and that's what Ferdy's going to talk about. And I know in the past, back then, it was way, way harder. But now, fortunately, we have like AI tools and automation, which Ferdy's going to talk about. So, did I give a good definition of attraction marketing? Simply like you're attracting people instead of you chasing after people. Is that a good way to describe it?
Yeah. I mean, you're attracting people using marketing strategies, whether that be social media marketing, advertising, there's other methods that are free that you don't have to pay money to attract people to you, because that's a definition of marketing. There's only two ways to generate sales or conversions in a business. You either do sales or you do marketing. And Peter Drucker has a quote. I'm going to paraphrase it, but basically the purpose of marketing is to make sales superfluous. Superfluous meaning unnecessary. When you attract people effectively and they see you as somebody of value, somebody that can enhance their life, or if you have a product that can somehow be of benefit to them, then you don't have to sell them. And the majority of traditional network marketing methods that are taught, prospecting, invite, presentation, objection handling, follow-up, those are sales skills. And even though I was being taught these things, I was never actually told that what I was learning was sales. So how can you get really great at doing something when when your upline actually denies that what they're teaching you is actually selling and sales? And that's what happens in a lot of network marketing organizations. They don't want to admit that what they're teaching people to do is sales and that they're actually building sales teams. So they have these other words for it. But there's nothing wrong with that. That's extremely effective if you're willing to train people effectively in those skills, and if you're a great trainer. And that's how you can create duplication. And so, like my friend Tim Sales, who you know and is one of the biggest leaders in network marketing, he taught his people the primary strategy for building a 7-figure business was cold calling. And so he taught people to buy leads and cold call, and they were deathly afraid of picking up the phone and calling, but he created a system for training these people in a systematic way so that they eventually not only would overcome their fear of cold calling, but they get really good and then teach the next person and teach the next person. So he actually shatters the myth that something duplicatable needs to be something easy. No, how you duplicate is by being an effective trainer and actually calling what you're teaching what it is, which is sales. He was teaching sales. What I learned to do was not sales. I learned to do marketing instead. And so that's the other side of the coin. They both result in the same thing. And if you love sales and if you're an extrovert and you love that way of doing things, then awesome. And I applaud and celebrate people who learn how to do network marketing using sales methods and strategies and skill sets. But I wasn't that person. I think once I found marketing and how to use the internet to attract leads and prospects to me to generate customers and enrollments for my team, I fell in love with that process. And I wanted to become a professional at those skills. I wanted to get really, really good at what became known as attraction marketing. Attraction marketing is just digital marketing skill sets for network marketers. That's what that is. That's what it means. And my mentors, the company they had was called Magnetic Sponsoring, and they had a book called Magnetic Sponsoring. Ultimately, that company ended up becoming the company I am now an owner in, because in 2014, one of my mentors, Mike Dillard, was exiting the network marketing space. He was going to go do something else, and his business partner needed a partner. And out of the thousands of people that they helped build 6, 7, 8-figure businesses in this space and beyond, I was tapped on the shoulder to be invited to come, merge my business into that company. And so I have an interesting story. Not only I was a student of Mike and Tim in the Magnetic Sponsoring Company. When Mike left, that company became rebranded as attractionmarketing.com. And now I'm an owner. Now I'm a partner with one of my mentors, who's the CEO of Attraction Marketing. And we've basically devoted ourselves to teaching these skill sets to as many network marketers as possible. And the promise that we made is like, we're going to stay on the cutting edge of what works in network marketing, that is innovative, that is new, and that is more efficient, that works faster and better than what worked yesterday. And that means staying on top of things like AI, things like what can you automate in your business, and seeking ways to automate things so that you can become more efficient. And technology and automation doesn't mean you take the people part out of the business. Network marketing is a people business. You just take out the stuff that is going to be, most frustrating, least efficient, not very interesting to you. But the part that matters is always the people part. So technology is not about removing people; it's about enabling you to connect with more people.
So if someone wanted to get started with attraction marketing, I think a lot of people who are watching this are already. What are some like 3 or 5 steps they should be doing? And then we can talk about the automation and the tools.
Well, I mean, it's something you got to learn first and foremost. So it's not something you just kind of start doing. You can try to do it through trial and error. So you need mentorship is what I'm saying. You're going to need to go through training, and more importantly, you need to go through mentorship. One of the things that we did as attractionmarketing.com, we were the first company in the network marketing space that actually had a coaching program. And the reason for that is because I realized that what led to my success was mentorship, was being part of a structured program that allowed me to do well in 2 areas of my life. One, I was part of a structured program to become an engineer. So at MIT, I referenced like what makes them so good at producing the best in the world at physics, technology, etc. Well, it's because they make it extremely hard, like they grill you, but they also have this multi-layer support structure that creates an environment for you to succeed. They brainwash the crap out of you that you're the best, and they also provide you the resources so that no matter how much you're struggling, there's always somebody to go to get support and help. So that was the first time I kind of experienced that support structure. The second time was I actually paid a mentor who was a 7-figure earner, somebody I was following online. After 2 years of trying to figure it out on my own and go through courses, because there was no mentorship programs at the time, I didn't really have a relationship with my mentors, Mike and Tim, at the time that was like super close. They didn't have coaching programs or mentorship programs, but I found a mentor that did. He charged me $60,000 to be mentored by him for a year. I didn't have $60,000. I was already 60 grand in debt, but he gave me the opportunity to go on a payment plan. And that program allowed me to have a structured environment where I can check in with them. I can get feedback from him. I can get coaching from him. There were some workshops, and then I could spend a day with him. And being a part of that program actually gave me the confidence to move faster, because now I had somebody who was a 7-figure earner who was willing to give me feedback. I had to do the work. In between our meetings, I hustled and hustled. And then when some of the most valuable calls I had with him and other mentors have been where I'm working on something and I say, here's what I'm working on, here's what I'm doing, here's how it's working. And all they do is go, that sounds great. They give me the thumbs up and keep going. That was so valuable because it allowed me to go faster. Because now any doubt as to whether I was doing things correctly like faded away, and I was able to run quickly. So that's one thing I recommend for any skill set you choose to do that's going to pay you big money is mentorship. But then the other part of your question, is like, what does that process look like in terms of what does it look like to do attraction marketing? Attraction marketing is about leading with value. Ultimately, it's what you do here on this podcast in one medium, where you become, people are tuning in because they're here to learn something that might help them in some way. So if you're selling a health product, a weight loss product, a product for improving memory or mental focus or clarity or your energy, whatever, well, those things are all solving problems. So you want to create content or be connected and network with people online. Social media makes it easier than ever before to connect with people who are challenged with very common problems that we all deal with. So you can network, social engagement, or you can create content that is seen by people that then are drawn to you. And what you're essentially sharing in that content is you're sharing that you understand people's problems, you understand how those problems are impacting their daily life, and that you have some advice, some tips and solutions that can help them with those problems. So that's essentially what direct response marketing is you find a target market, you find people that have a problem that you can help them with, and you figure out a way to connect with them, whether you connect with them one-on-one through social media, whether you create content that finds them and then that draws them to you, or ultimately, using something like advertising. I don't recommend advertising for everybody, but for leaders that are highly motivated and want to get trained on how to do that, advertising is my primary way today of attracting leads and prospects and customers to my business today. Just today alone, my email list has grown by between 100 to 200 people, dozens of customers, and it's all on autopilot. But that's not, I didn't learn that in the beginning. I had to work my way up to doing that and being able to automate my business and create systems for doing that. But in the beginning, like right now, there is no better time to be able to connect and attract people to you. Like especially reels on on Instagram or Facebook. Creating a reel is basically you create a video that gets shown to people you don't know, that are not your followers, not your friends. It gets shown to people you don't know. The algorithm or the platform is trying to figure out who is going to be interested in this video so that it can show it to those people. And then if those people really like what they see and they find that it's relevant to their life and it adds value to their life in some way, they likely will start following you. They're going to engage with your video. They're going to follow you. Maybe if it's really compelling, they're going to message you. And if it's really, really, really compelling, they might even go, where do I buy that thing you talked about? Or where what do you recommend I buy to solve this problem? That's essentially attraction marketing. Like at its best is you create a piece of content that someone you don't know sees, and then they're drawn to you, they find you, they message you, and then a relationship begins.
Yeah, I think for those who are been loyal listeners of MLM Nation podcast, if you look at the leaders for the last 2-3 years, especially the last 2 or 3 years, everyone is using some form of attraction marketing, right? I mean, I can think of Mike Costola and Carla, they're using TikTok. That actually is doing her stuff. Every leader, especially the ones that are popular, they're using attraction marketing.
By the way, those people are our students.
Yeah, so your students, right? They were like Mike totally using TikTok, and from there they got customers within the first 30 days. And I think before we talk about the tools, duplication, right? I think people say, what does it duplicate? I think there's a myth. I want to address this myth about duplication. I think one leader said it the best is like the exact method doesn't need to be duplicated. I think Big Al Schreider said this, like, doesn't need to be, the exact method doesn't need to be duplicatable, but the values and the principles need to be duplicatable, right? Or like you said, the teacher. So I'll give an example. If like Ferny, obviously very smart and engineer, and he immediately was able to recruit 10 engineers in this business because he's smart. Doesn't mean that he shouldn't do that, because that's not duplicatable. I'm not an engineer, right? It wouldn't make any sense, right? Or a doctor goes out there and can get 20 patients to use the products, but that's definitely not duplicatable, right? Should he really build that? Of course, he should build a business that way, right? So, I mean, for me, it was like I expanded to Philippines, and that was a huge part. I ended up being like 80,000 people in the Philippines. Does that mean that you can't? Your company's not open in the Philippines? I shouldn't build that way? No. So the exact way to build doesn't need to be duplicatable, but the principles of giving value, right? Those need to be duplicatable. So I just want to clear that up. I think that building new markets was something I loved, right? Definitely not duplicatable for everyone, but the principles of going to having posture, putting on marketing, same thing when I went to Malaysia, I did some advertising, attraction marketing, landing page, and I got like 30,000 leads in the first year, and then I started giving them to my team. So what are some tools or AI that people can, because I know it can be daunting for a lot of people, especially people who are not, by the way, if you're a technophobe or not good at tech, raise a hand. I think it's like the older I am, I used to be saying no, but I'm starting to be like that. So what are some tools that people can use to make things easier?
Yeah, well, by the way, I'm going to raise my hand there. I'm a technophobe. Even today, even though I went an MIT education, new things do scare me. New things are intimidating, but I overcome that fear of intimidation. And I often find that once I start playing with it and using it and going through, just to have patience with learning whatever it is that is new, that it becomes less scary. That's when I learned to program at MIT. The first half of the semester of my programming class, I was failing. I was failing out of MIT. I was failing out of that class because I wasn't getting it. But I just kept trying it, and then one day it just ended up clicking, and all of a sudden I'm programming. And because I had never used a computer prior to going to MIT, believe it or not. So a lot of it is mindset when it comes to technology. And so today, when I encounter something new, I have a little, fear that comes up, and I have to overcome that. In terms of tools, well, first you got to understand that AI, for example, today is not a replacement for you learning the skills of network marketing, attraction marketing, sales, etc. Like whatever you need, whatever path you choose to take, whether it's to learn sales or do marketing to build your business, you still need to learn those skills, because you can't evaluate the quality of the output of, let's say, ChatGPT. If you ask it to come up with the copy or the script for a video, or a good headline for your next piece of content, your Facebook Live, for example, how do you know whether what it's giving you is any good? Most of the time, I find that people that don't have the skill set of marketing, when they try to use AI to come up with the content for their social media content or for their websites or whatever, it's crap. It's terrible, but they have no way of evaluating whether it's any good or not, because they don't have the skill to know whether it's any good or not, because they've never done it before. So AI doesn't replace that, at least not yet. So I've yet to find output from AI, from ChatGPT or any of the other tools, that in and of itself, it does a great job without the user having the skills. So what the role AI plays, it actually just makes you more efficient. So you have to be able to prompt it effectively, meaning you have to be able to train it effectively based on your skill and knowledge, so that the AI can produce something that is quality work. So the cool thing is, when we train an AI today, we just talk to it. We just we write to it. So right now I'm training an AI that is responding to all my Messenger conversations. So anyone that reaches out to Messenger, to my company or to myself, gets an AI response. So AI has a conversation, and the conversations sound like a real person, But then when it says something that's a little off or not ideal, I have to then write something to tell it, hey, in this situation, when this happens, do this instead. And I'm training it over time to be in more and more and more like what I would respond in. And the goal is if I can get it 80% to respond like like I would respond, then perfect. I now have an AI. I literally now have an AI that sets appointments for my business and for my team. So anyone that it engages in conversations, anyone that comments on our social media content, my AI robot has a conversation with them, has a very basic enrollment conversation, asks them questions, what are your struggles, etc. And then at some point it knows to hand it off to a human being, which would be myself or somebody on my team. So there's now, again, that is a little more advanced. Right now, what I would recommend people to do is you start with something like ChatGPT, and you learn this, whatever skills you're learning from your upline, from the trainers you're plugged into. If you decide to learn attraction marketing from us, you need to learn the skills, the fundamentals of, for our social media, how to create good, effective content that's compelling, that's attractive. You learn that skill, and then you go, okay, how can I teach AI to produce more content ideas for me? And that's when you learn how to prompt the AI so that it gives you, 30 ideas for content for the month. But you can't just go, hey, ChatGPT, give me 30 ideas for posting on social media. It's going to give you stuff that's not really relevant or interesting to your market. But if you know the type of things your market likes and the type of people you want to attract, then you can be very specific to something like ChatGPT and say, hey, for people in this target market who have the problem of and are seeking to achieve this result, provide me some ideas for content, for reels, or some content for my next Facebook Live. Now ChatGPT has that context, and then it can produce better ideas. But then those ideas still have to be vetted by you. You still have to go through them and go, okay, this one's good, this one's good, this one's crap, this one's good, this one's crap. You can only do that if you have the skill of marketing and copywriting.
Yeah, and for a lot of our listeners, they're using this tool, My AI, by now. So I think you're familiar, Ferny, you're aware of it. Where I think if you have like a lot of existing content, if you just plug it in there, and it'll come out with stuff. But I think even for me, I use AI, but it's never like the final. What I use is just basically what you said, is like coming up with like a framework, ideas, and then I'll do 80% of the work. Then I fine tune it and change it. I find that that's way easier than coming up with something from scratch. I'm like, oh my goodness, where do I even start? But I think I did that with a lot of my new branding now. It's just like, give me like 20 titles, right? I think I did that with the book. Come up 25 titles to 50 titles. I described what it was, and 90% was like pretty crappy. And then I was like, oh, I like these two. Can you combine these two? And then AI will come up with something like that.
Yeah.
What if someone's not good with social media, like total technophobe, not, maybe they're just, what should they do right now? Like, what can they do? So it was the quickest way for them to get some results of attraction marketing.
Yeah. So I have two answers for that. Number one, if you're speaking to yourself as the identity of, I am not tech savvy, or I am not good at social media, or I'm not a social media person, or I'm not a tech person, that's the first thing that needs to go. You need to stop talking to yourself in that way, because you're affirming that you are not that thing. Therefore, you're going to stay that thing. You're going to find every excuse and have it seem perfectly reasonable to a normal human being that you are not a tech person, and then therefore they're going to give you an outgoing, oh yeah, I understand. So don't worry about that. That's not what entrepreneurs do. Entrepreneurs try new and scary things that intimidate them. So that's the first thing. I would stop talking to myself in that way. Now you can say, I am not yet a tech person, but I will be. I'll figure this out. I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to make it happen. I'm going to learn what I need to learn in order to utilize this tool of social media to grow my business. That is now an affirming conversation that you're having to yourself, that is affirming that you are going to do something. It's not even going, I hope I figure it out. I'm going to try. Just like Yoda says, there is no try, only do. So if you tell yourself you're going to do something, that's where the magic happens. That's where change begins. So it does not serve anyone to identify themselves as, oh, I'm not this person, I'm not this person, I'm not this person, whatever, because you're just affirming that you're going to stay stuck. So that's number one. Number two is you're still going to have the thoughts and the beliefs that you are not a tech person or a social media person. You're going to have the thoughts. The thoughts are not going to change, but you can control what you say to yourself, what you say to others. Most importantly, you can control what you physically do in spite of your thoughts. So seeking out training or trainers and mentors that are already good at this thing that you want to learn, like Facebook Reels or Instagram Reels or social media, developing a social media strategy, or even just networking on social media. Find people that are already good at that and get training from them and dive into the deep end. And even though you are having the thoughts of like, oh, I don't know if I can do this, I'm not a tech person, those thoughts aren't going to go away. The devil is in your mind constantly telling you things to limit your potential. So those thoughts are not going to go away. But what you can act in spite of those thoughts, you can seek training, and you're going to find the more training you go through, the more you implement from that training, eventually your external behaviors of going through that training is going to eventually reprogram your mind. Your mindset is the last thing to shift. Your words and your actions need to come first. That is the only thing that reprograms your mind. So whenever somebody says, I'm working on my mindset, that doesn't mean anything to me because I don't know what that means. You can't work on your mindset from the inside out. You have to externally perform the behaviors of the person you want to become in order for your mind to shift. So the last thing to go in terms of the identity of not being a tech person will actually be your thoughts. At some point of your journey, your learning journey, your entrepreneur journey, your mentorship journey with whoever you choose, one day you're going to wake up and you're no longer going to have those thoughts. But you're already going to be in the process and the action of learning and implementing these skills. So I think that's one thing people need to realize. You're never going to be ready to do something uncomfortable. That's what makes it uncomfortable. You got to just do the thing that's uncomfortable and new and different and scary. And the more you do it, the less scary it becomes. And the more your identity shifts to now it becoming, I am now a social media person. I am a social media marketer. I am an attraction marketer. I am fill in the blank.
That's so good. I just want to share an embarrassing thing about me. Like when I first started attraction marketing back in 2004, I wanted to do it, but I did not even know what a domain name was. And I didn't even know what a server was. I didn't know what hosting was. So I still remember my mentors explaining to me, like, I think the domain name is like your phone number, and your server, your hosting is like your cell phone service, the company. But I had no clue. And I built my first web page using Front Page 2003, and then I realized, crap, I put the wrong book because they updated 2004, and then like I was still using Windows, and none of this stuff worked. But I like what you said. It's like, the change in the mindset, because like, just say you wanted to exercise, right? Oh, I don't like to exercise. The change is not going to happen no matter what you say. But if you go to the gym, and just even if you go to the gym for 10 minutes a day for 5 straight days, all of a sudden you're going to start changing yourself, right? So it's just going out there, doing it, and then getting the help. And then that experience and the learning will start making you become good. And like I said, every master was a disaster. Ferny was bad at it. I was bad at it.
Mm-hmm.
What about if, like, and that kind of talked about this about being the purple cow, being different. But what happens if someone's on a team that they're not really doing attraction marketing? They're just doing all old school, and maybe the upline doesn't even understand it. What would you recommend in that situation for this person? Because that happens actually more often than not.
Yeah, it happens all the time. And first I have a criticism of network marketing. Like I've actually been thinking about starting a podcast to compete with you, Simon. And I wanted to call it MLM hate and love or something like that, or MLM love, MLM hate. Because there's a lot of things I hate about network marketing, in addition to a lot of things I love about network marketing. One of the things I hate about it is that it's one of the slowest industries in the world to shift and innovate. It's slow to innovate. It's slow to stay ahead of what technology is offering us as an opportunity to take advantage of. People resist change and they resist innovation and they resist evolution, unlike any other company. I mean, if you know the story of Xerox, Xerox invented the personal computer, the Xerox PARC. Bill Gates and Steve Jobs visited Xerox PARC and they saw what they were working on and go, holy crap, this is the future. And they basically ripped off Xerox PARC and started Apple and Microsoft and created the personal computer as something that was sold to consumers. Xerox didn't even patent the PC. They invented the mouse. This thing right here, they invented the mouse. This was their invention. But the executives at Xerox basically said, no, our bread and butter, our business is paper and copiers. That's it. That is what we do. And that's what's going to continue, drive us into the future. Well, what happened to Xerox? Xerox was bankrupt 15 years later. And they filed for bankruptcy and they had to start over. And while Apple and Microsoft obviously became the behemoths that they became, and it's because they wanted to stick to what used to work. And even though they had an entire department of brilliant engineers who were innovating, they decided not to get into the future. They decided to not take advantage of those innovations. So most of the engineers at Xerox PARC actually went to work for Microsoft and Apple because they wanted to work on the future. Xerox wanted to stay in the past. So network marketing reminds me a lot of Xerox. This is what worked for me 20 years ago, and it's going to work for you. It still works. And that might be the case. It might still work. Home parties and home meetings and prospecting strangers, that can still work. But there are far more efficient and enjoyable ways of building the business that are viable. And it's been proven. So that's the first, part is that, network marketing is slow to innovate, but we need to welcome it. And we need to be, so back to that person that's like, well, my upline doesn't want me to do it this way. Well, be like Bill Gates and Steve Jobs, or be like those engineers that worked at Xerox PARC and go, well, if Xerox doesn't want to do it this way, I'm going to do it this way, and get the education that you need in order to stay relevant to today. And also the misconception is that somehow building online is somehow going to violate rules or go against compliance. It might upset your upline, but that's not a rule. Like there's no rule in your company that you can't upset your upline. But there is compliance and you want to stay within compliance. But ultimately, all these online strategies, what they allow us to do is they allow us to connect with more people. They allow us to, social media to network with people, to, we can attract people to have conversations with, whether we facilitate those conversations through one-on-one interactions or whether we create content that attracts people to us. Well, that is a fundamental of network marketing, is being able to connect with more people and offer our solution, our products or opportunity. And so I don't see the conflict. I don't see the conflict at all. We're just teaching people how to become better networkers in a 21st century.
Yeah, I just want to share. I agree with those two things. Do you probably know the answer to this? Do you know remember back before smartphones where there's tiny little cameras, right? There's what do you call those cameras? Digital cameras, right?
Flip cams or what?
No, not the flip cams. No, like the Sony, the Canon, little tiny cameras.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
This is before the end of the smartphone. The iPhone came out. Basically, no one wants. You don't need that anymore. But do you know who invented that digital camera?
Kodak?
That's right. Kodak. Remember, Kodak used to be, and Ferny knows this because he's on top of everything. But Kodak, I think they laid off how many people, tens of thousands of people for film processing. They actually invented that technology, I think, in the 70s. But they did not want to we got to stick to film. This is what we want. And then
because this is what makes money now. But then eventually,
exactly.
What makes money now stops making money now.
Yes, and now who even uses Kodak? Where everyone uses digital cameras. I think network marketing needs to evolve quicker. because I remember, I think that's the thing that helped me out, right? I shared with Malaysia, we're building online. We're doing, I think, Voxwire. I forgot what was it. We were doing webinars before anyone else was doing webinars. But I remember when we started the podcast, people were doing business podcasts. ML Nation started in 2015. Network marketing, most people didn't even know what a podcast was. Leaders even know what it was, right? But the business world were using podcasts in the late 2000s. And that was another example of network marketing being late in the game. I think for us to stay competitive now, I think you see some of the challenges in the industry where, like, we have to do the Uber, right? People can do Uber instead of network marketing, or Amazon, quick shipping, right? We more than ever have to evolve and adapt much quicker. Otherwise, because the world is going a lot quicker. So, Ferny, I know we have, I appreciate your time. Just the hour flew by so fast. But I know you have something special. I'm excited in July to hang out with you again. Why don't you share a little bit the surprise? And I know I've got something cool, and you got special. I call it a Ferny bonus. Why don't you share what's happening in 2 months from now?
Absolutely. So on July 18th through the 21st, we are hosting an event. Attraction Marketing is hosting an event called Digital Networker Live, and we are bringing together the most influential, most successful digital network marketing leaders who are 6, 7, 8-figure. And there's actually somebody that's going to be in the room that has done over $1 billion in sales in his own network marketing company as an owner, having started as a student here at Attraction Marketing. And so we're basically bringing the best of the best as it relates to building a business online. And we'd like to invite you. We're having, Beck Sadek, Mike, and Carla that you interviewed on your podcast. They're speakers and trainers at this event. My original mentors, Mike Dillard and Tim Irway, are training and speaking at that event. Rob Sperry, who's one of our business partners, is speaking at that event. Simon Chan is speaking at that event. And my goal is to introduce you to all the different ways that are available to you, that are accessible to you right now, start learning how to build your business online. There's 3 ways for you to learn. You can go through a course, you can invest in a mentorship program, or you can come and attend a live event. And our live events operate more like workshops. We don't do rah-rah. We don't do a lot of motivational talks. If any, I am very much content oriented, and every single trainer and speaker will be teaching something tactical related to social media, different platforms, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and beyond. We even have a pre-event workshop where if you want to dive deep into automated systems and AI that you can use to do lead generation, that pre-event workshop is available as an upgrade. So you can attend in person, or you can opt for the live stream. That's an option for either one. We're capping the in-person attendance at 150 people, but we're going to have over 20 6, 7, 8-figure earners and above speaking at that event. So the ratio to attendee to top earners in the room, in addition to the people that are going to be top earners attending as attendees, is going to be awesome. It's going to be the ultimate networking opportunity, in addition to the ultimate learning opportunity for anyone that wants to build online. And 3 months ago, we did an event that Simon Chan actually spoke at called the Attract, Influence, and Enroll Summit, which was very specific and detailed training on how to build on different platforms with different strategies, building online. And he was one of our trainers. That recording of that event, people traveled to that event, paid thousands of dollars for travel, hotel, etc., on top of the ticket cost. I will personally give you the recording of that event if you book your ticket, either live stream or in person. Book your ticket for Digital Networking Live by tonight.
Awesome. Okay, so how much is what I wasn't even planning to sell? I don't even have the price points here. How much is the ticket? How much is it?
Yeah, so to attend in person is $197.
$197.
Yeah, there's an upgrade for the workshop where both the main event and the workshop will be $497, and I think it's $797 if you want to do all access, which includes all the networking parties, the workshop, and the main event. And we also have, for leaders who have teams, we have an executive pass that includes lunch with myself and my mentor and partner. and also some packs for tickets that you can give away to your team, and some other perks and consulting included with that as well. But even just the regular, plain old main event ticket, the room is going to be so small that it's still going to be an amazing networking opportunity for so many people.
Yeah.
And there's no backstage. There's nowhere for our speakers to hide. There's no, secret elevator. We are using the same doors to exit and the same elevators as you are. And so, and our speakers know that, and they welcome that. It's not going to be one of those events where you're not going to have the opportunity to talk to a 6, 7, or 8-figure earner. They're going to be everywhere. And so, in addition to amazing content on stage, you're going to be able to talk and pick the brains and build relationships with some amazing people.
Yeah.
And live. By the way, the other thing is live stream is $297, so it's $100 more for a live stream if you're not going to be there in person. Only because we're trying to cover the cost of live stream. It costs us $60,000 to do the live stream production so that it's quality for you, and otherwise we wouldn't do live stream. So it's a little more for the ticket, but you don't have to travel. There's no hotel, etc. For those that are traveling, we know you're traveling, so we give you a break on the ticket price.
I think one of the cool things about an event is, yes, it was like 150 people. So it was one of the few events where I got to hang out. I hung out with a person who built an 8-figure business, right? And generally at events, people are really, really busy, or there's a green room, you hit it. That was something that was really cool. I enjoyed it. And also, I think, Ferny, I've never taken that many pictures of other people in an event before, because there was nowhere for me to hide. Everyone's coming up to me. But we made it a lot of fun for me, right? Because normally, like, it's a big event and I'm speaking and I'm done. But there, I was just there the whole time, and everyone's coming up and talking. I really got to know a lot of the attendees really, really well. So I put the link in there to go to mlnation.com/digital. Okay, mlnation.com/digital. You get a Ferny bonus. And I know Ferny said that before tomorrow, but some of us are watching the recording, especially who are on here live, May 10th. If you just message Ferny, he will give you the recordings, especially the trainings I did in the last one about podcasting or what to do. Also, I give an action taker bonus. I've never done this before. Kind of a little nervous about it. But anyone who takes action right now, the first 5 people, and Ferny thought this was a little was crazy for me to do it, but first 5 people who get a ticket now, whether it's the live stream or whatever, you get to have a private 90-minute hangout with me in Los Angeles. We'll do something cool. We'll go somewhere. It's right near the water. I'll take you somewhere cool. So it will be fun. It'll be fun. The first 5 minutes. Normally I charge time is $2,000 an hour. Right. So it's 90 minutes. Group hangout for 5 people. We'll get some food and drinks. It'll be fun. But first 5 people. Okay. And Ferny will let me know which 5. Just head over to mlnation.com/digital. Last thing is, you have a question here from Law. It says, would you recommend building funnels to track prospects for presentation? And would you recommend recorded presentation to be shown to those prospects, Ferny?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is something that we do teach our students, and it's part of how you can start creating leverage and automation for presenting your business. In fact, I'm actually doing an event in a week and a half just for our mentorship students. It's a virtual event where we're teaching exactly how to do this, how to put together a presentation for presenting your opportunity, and also, how to put together a funnel and the technology for doing that. So attracting prospects, having them opt in, watch a presentation, and if they're interested, apply to join your business and book on your calendar, already ready to get signed up. So you can do that. The caveat is, I recommend that you are trained by somebody that knows how to do this effectively. The skill of marketing and direct response marketing is a high level skill set. So it sounds simple, but don't fall for the people that say they're going to build it for you. And anyone that promises they're going to build your downline for you, or that they're going to build your funnel for you, and that you're going to generate leads, they're shysters. You got to learn the skills to be able to do it yourself. And you got to be part of a mentorship program that's going to teach you the skills of copywriting and funnel building and offer creation. So it's not something you're going to be able to figure out normally. If you try to do it without getting some expert help, you're likely going to waste a lot of time, a lot of money, and don't fall for the scams that people are going to build it for you. It's the equivalent of me asking Simon, "Hey Simon, can I pay you $10,000 per month if you build my downline for me?" It just There's no way. You have to learn the skills to operate your business. No one's going to build your business for you, and that includes building a funnel for you. I hire people to build funnels now. That's because I know whether what they do is crap or not. I can hold them accountable. I can give them feedback and say, I don't like this, change this. And my feedback is based on experience and skill. And I know whether they're BSing me or not. But if you hire somebody to build it for you, that where you don't have the skill set to do it, then they can pretty much take you for a ride and you won't know it. And 99% of the time, they will take you for a ride.
Yeah, that's such an important point. I just did a coaching call, I think, with Maria, right? Marie Maribel, you're on here. Like someone asked her to pay $8,000 to create a website on social media. I think you have to do it first, right? Because I've done that. I made that mistake before, and this applies to funnels, Facebook ads, social media. If you just pay people, most of these people have never had any experience in network marketing, right? So they're building something that, yeah, technically it works, but marketing-wise, it doesn't connect with people. So you just wasted your money. Like Ferny said, I highly recommend you got to, even Facebook ads, whatever. Like I outsource, but I learned to do it myself. With websites, copy, I learned to do it myself. So then I know that when I hire people, I know they're doing it the right way. Right. So it's really, really important to get that background first.
Yeah, it's better. It's better if you're going to be if you're willing to spend $8,000 to get something done for you. I would recommend spending those $8,000 to get trained and mentored by somebody to teach you the skill set, and that'll be a million times more valuable.
Definitely, because otherwise you're going to have a website just empty and that doesn't work, and just you hate it. Anyway, Ferny, thank you so much for your time. As we wrap up, any last words or advice?
Yeah, there's no free lunch. Like you got to learn skill sets. There's no shortcut. Even with attraction marketing, I love attraction marketing. I enjoy what I do every day. The reason it works, the reason it's duplicatable is because my students look forward to implementing these skill sets. So if you're not having fun building your business, you're doing it the wrong way. And perhaps what we teach here at Attraction Marketing is a better alternative to what you're doing. Not because what you're doing doesn't work. It's because you might just enjoy how we do it better.
Hey, ML Nation, you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And today, you've been hanging out with Ferny Ceballos. So keep up the momentum. Head over to mlnation.com, click on the podcast tab, and the links to all the show notes, the nuggets of wisdom that Ferny shared, including his profiles. Also, the link to the digital marketing event in July will be right there. And hey, in order to be successful in life, in business, and network marketing, you must help others. So Ferny, thanks again for sharing your valuable time with ML Nation. We're grateful to you, and we appreciate you for having a positive impact on millions of distributors worldwide. Thank you so much again, and God bless you.
Thanks, brother.
Hey, ML Nation, Simon Chan. Quick recap from a great show from Ferny Ceballos talking about attraction marketing, right? And I love the term. If you're marketing yourself, then you don't need to sell as much, right? Like I love that quote by Peter Drucker. The purpose of marketing is to make sales superfluous or unnecessary. And I think in network marketing, number one, a couple of things that's number one that stood out was if you market yourself, then you don't need to sell yourself that hard, right? Be the person that people want to join. Be the person people want and they trust you. And a lot of the recently the episodes have gotten a lot of feedback in the last 3 months, where it's like Beck Sadak, Mike Costola, James Zen, right? These are all people who do attraction marketing. They're putting a lot of content and attracting people to them. And I think the list can go on and on. The people who really go out there and, I don't think this aired yet, but I just interviewed her. I've done so many podcasts recently. Like I just interviewed Natalie Robinson and also Claudia Bazaar. They're all doing attraction marketing. They're putting out content there. So when people reach out, it's less of a sell. It's not like a hard sell. You don't have to convince them because they trust you already. And you have shown that you've given the solutions to what they want, right? But I think a lot of times people don't know the right way. I definitely did. I wish, attraction marketing was around. Like Ferny's company was around when I first started, but instead I had to go buy random books on Amazon and just learn it myself. I had my mentor who knew a little bit, but I never had but I did spend a lot of time. And later on, it wasn't until like 2008, 2009, 2010, when I really invested. I remember first mastermind I joined. This is when I made a ton of mistakes. When I first started coaching, was I finally invested 25 grand in the mastermind. I learned about marketing, and that actually helped me. It was like the second year I did that when I launched ML Nation. Right. So it wasn't for that, I've never even done ML Nation, didn't even know what podcast thing, none of that would have existed. So it's so important. I think the cool thing is once you learn to market yourself, it doesn't matter what you do. Some of you want to be lifelong marketers. That's awesome. Right. Sometimes companies have issues. You switch to another company, but you still got your brand with you. Right. And then you can take anywhere. Also, maybe you want to do something else, start a secondary business, like the way I started coaching ML Nation. You still have that brand. And once you know marketing, you can do so many other things. And I think a big point was when Ferny talked at the end, it's like, don't hire people just to do stuff for you. Because a lot of times those people, they are, they either, like Ferny called them, like scammers. Yes, a lot of them are, but a lot of them also have genuine desire, could be a friend or whatever, but they don't know the industry. They've never built successfully before. So them teaching you, the message is very different. And trust me, I've hired people to write sales pages and they're like, oh my goodness, this is terrible. Right? This is before AI. It's like terrible, right? Because they've never been in the network marketing industry before. So a lot of great stuff here. And I like what you're talking about. Action changes your mindset, right? If you feel I'm too old, I'm not good at technology, if you start thinking like that, you're never going to be good. You got to change your mindset and then start taking action and learning from it. Learn, take action, learn, take action, learn, take action. Have a mentor, give feedback. The quick feedback is very important. If you're just doing it and not getting feedback, it's not helpful, right? That's right now. I actually hired a coach for my rebranding, and he gives me instant feedback, right? I get to text him every day, and that's been huge in terms of if you've been following me, the content for Simon Chan, it's been from the feedback got me dramatically improved because I can get instant feedback. Even my sons, for baseball, my son, he gets we drive an hour for 1 hour lesson, then drive back. And now they're actually 30 minutes. We drive 1 hour for 30 minutes and then drive an hour back in traffic. But he gets instant feedback. I get to take video of his swings and send it to the coach. And that's how he's got him better so quickly, right? And I think if you want to be successful in network marketing, you really got to treat it like a business, like $1 million business. Not like a couple $100 business, see what happens. I'm going to try it out like $1 million business. For my son, he wants to play pro baseball. It's $1 million business, right? Now, I don't know whether you're going to go pro, but definitely, hopefully, right? Pro is really, 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 really hard, right? But even playing college, which is way, way harder, even way harder than building a network marketing business. But we need to treat it seriously. We got to invest. We got instant feedback. I think you want to make the big income. You got to make that decision to go all in. And you got to be and I said, you got to be the purple cow. You got to stand out and be different. If you're just like everyone else, hey, you're not going to make it. I think one of the cool things about what Ferny teaches is to be one step ahead of what everyone else is doing, right? Like I said, network marketing often is very still slow. I know a lot of network marketing companies now, they have like an affiliate program, but that's been around for like 4 or 5 years already, maybe more than that. And we're just starting to catch up to it. I mean, it's time for us to really get outside our comfort zones and be brave, be something different, right? Be brave, have courage, do something different. Anyway, I can go on and on. Go to the show notes page, connect with Ferny, go register for the event. No, it's mlnation.com/digital. Go do that. And whether you're on the live stream or in LA, I'll be there. It's going to be a ton of fun. Hope to see you at the event. Anyway, thank you for listening. Thank you for being part of this amazing profession. Take action and go out there, have a positive impact on someone's life. God bless you all.